Oh, man, what a night around Major League Baseball. Absolutely incredible. Angels rookie Reid Detmer throwing the first solo no-hitter of the season in a blowout win over the Tampa Bay Rays in Anaheim. We know the Mets had the combined no-no earlier in the year, but wow. Before last night, he had never thrown more than 6 innings in a game. 22-year-old recording the no-hitter in 108 pitches, 2 strikeouts, and a walk, one of 2 Angels in the top 5 of last night's top scores. Kyle Bradish, by the way, 11 strikeouts for the Orioles. Cedric Mullins going yard. And then Steve Buchanan's Lord and Savior, Robbie Ray, rounding out the top 5. So let's go ahead and let's look at tonight. We got DraftKings contributors Nick Friar here. We got Garion Thorne here on the horn. A pitcher over $8,500 tonight, Gare Bear. Who is it going to be for you?
Yeah, I'll preface this by saying I think he's going to be the most popular pitcher by a considerable margin. But I am a basic, as the kids say, so I will definitely have some exposure to Shohei Ohtani. I mean, this is the perfect storm when it comes to ownership, though. We're talking about a guy who is coming off a dominant start against the Boston Red Sox. Ohtani, for whatever reason, is always disrespected by the algorithm when he's a pitcher. He comes into this game with a 1.52 FIP and a 38% strikeout rate, and he's less than 9K. That is absolutely insane. So he's too cheap, he's on a hot streak, and the team he's facing got no hit last night. So, again, Ohtani's going to be the chalk of all chalk. So maybe this would be a time to, pivot to even Shane McClanahan, who's been just as good so far this season, but people are now a little bit afraid of this Los Angeles Angels lineup. So I would have exposure to both, but I just don't see how you avoid Ohtani completely, even knowing his ownership is going to be 50 or 60% tonight.
All right, there are 7 games on the main slate, Friar. Who is your pitcher, $8,500 or more? Looks like you have about 6 dudes to choose from.
6 dudes to choose from, and Garion's talking about how chalky this play is going to be. I'm with him on Shohei Ohtani. I mean, you look at the Rays, they have the 5th highest strikeout rate against right-handed pitching. Never mind what happened last night against the lefty, but Ohtani's got a 17.5 swing and strike rate. He's getting guys to swing out of the zone quite a bit, and they're swinging and missing on those pitches quite often too. In his 5th at 1.52, I love the way he's been looking. If you're looking for another option, I know Garion mentioned Shane McClanahan. I'm not as high on him tonight, going up against the Angels on the other side of this, regardless of what happened last night. But I do like Miles McCullough going up against the Orioles, as much as they had a solid showing, and I know Cedric Mullins has been tough, but this guy's shoved through the better part of this season after that awful opening day or first start of the season for him. But I think Ohtani is definitely the way to go tonight, but if you want someone else on that high price range, McCullough is my guy.
What about the way to go, Friar, when I ask you about a hitter north of $5,000?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with a guy who's kind of been going slow lately, but he is one of my favorite plays throughout the course of the season. Other when you're looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook on total bases or just a big bat in general, Yordan Alvarez at 5.9K going up against the Twins and Chris Archer tonight. I've seen actually Garion cite it in his targets before how Yordan is a streaky hitter, no question about it, and he's been slumping a little bit of late. I think his last 4 games he has not gotten a hit. But this dude smokes right-handed pitching. He's got a 42.5% hard contact rate against right-handed pitching in 58 plate appearances, just a 10% soft contact rate. And it gets even better for him when he's on the road. And he's got a 449 ISO against righties, 459 WOBA. And he has a pretty unlucky BABIP, too. I mean, a 1.82 against right-handed pitching, so it shows that he's going to continue to do better against them. And lefties have done well against Chris Archer, too, a 39.1% hard contact rate, leading to that 393 WOBA they have against him.
Garion, who is your guy in the 5K range?
Yeah, I talked about him yesterday, and I'll go back to the well with Pete Alonso at 4,900. He's just really cheap, considering not just how good he's been.
Wait
this
a minute.
season, how good the Mets.
Wait a minute. I said hitter north of 5K. You are cheating going $100 under $5,000.
How dare you?
I'm sorry, I care about the people and want to save them money.
Yeah.
My apologies.
They are the rules.
I'm sorry, I thought you said a hitter that should be over 5K. That's my mistake.
Okay, well, go ahead. Let state your case here since you love the people so much.
Look, I just think it's an amazing matchup. I mean, Aaron Sanchez, it's so weird. Like, he's only 29, which is crazy because he just seems like he's been washed for about 4 seasons now. And the book on Sanchez used to be that you would just blitz him with left-handed batters, but this season it's been right-handed batters that have been his biggest issue. They're hitting .414 with a WOBA well above 470 against Sanchez so far this season. Alonso's got plus power. He's hitting exceedingly well so far in the month of May. And this is, again, just a spot where I think the Mets probably going to score like 5, 6, 7 runs in this contest. And I would be surprised if Alonso's not in the middle of it all.
All right. We accept your answer. I don't want to, but we have to. Value hitter, Garion. So you could go anywhere you want here. Likely someone cheap.
I'll pick a pitcher. No. I think Juan Yepez is probably the guy that I'm really zeroed in on tonight. Look, his price just hasn't adjusted. He's not going to hit like this for the rest of his career, obviously. But he's 9 for 19 to start. He's got an amazing matchup against Spencer Watkins, who, much like Sanchez, is a right-handed pitcher who has struggled with right-handed opponents so far this season. Watkins actually giving up a 313 average and a 450 WOBA to opposing right-handed hitters. And the Cardinals, one of the most right-handed heavy lineups in all of baseball. So this is probably going to be a pretty short outing for Watkins. Then you get into that Baltimore bullpen, which has been better, but still I think primed for a little bit of regression. If Yepez is hitting cleanup like he has been so far in his brief MLB career, it's really hard to avoid him at 3K.
Friar, who do you want as your value hitter?
We got to start talking before the show more, Garion, because we're in lockstep on this one, too. Yepez, yeah, I know I wish I had another option for you, but Yepez is the best option. I mean, he moved to the 4 spot in the lineup last night, and if he's going to stay there or if he stays in the 5 spot, this is a guy, very low price, and you're getting him in a run-producing spot. How do you say no to something like that? And as much as Watkins, I'm a little bit higher on Watkins. He's been solid. Of course, not a guy who you're going to go and necessarily roster in DFS because his innings are going to be limited, and you're not going to see a ton of strikeouts from him. I do like Yepez in this spot because, I mean, like Gary said, 10 hits, 3 doubles, a home run. Quite a bit of that damage has been done against right-handed pitching. Watkins doesn't do as great against right-handed hitting. So, yeah, I love this guy. And it's a cheap price in a run-producing spot. Can't say no to that.
Friar, before we let you guys go, let's pivot off DFS. Hook me up with your favorite Major League Baseball bet tonight.
Yeah, so I'm going to come back to the Angels-Rays game at 3.5 runs for the Angels. That just seems too low for me. And at minus 110, I'm more than happy with that. Forget what happened last night again because they faced his right-hander the other day. They're facing a left-hander tonight. And I know Shane McClanahan is tough, and we talked about him earlier. But this guy hasn't skunked anybody this year since his first start of the season. So, like, I'm not as much as he's an impressive pitcher and understand rostering for DFS. He's not going to go out and I don't expect him to go and throw like 5 shutout innings against this lineup, which as much as they're better against right-handed pitching, they're still tough on lefties. They're top 6 in OPS, top 6 in WOBA. And also with McClanahan, as much as he's got a good bullpen behind him, he's not going to go that far in this game just because the Rays are just airtight on his innings. So I have no problem asking the Angels to get 4 runs from me tonight.
All right, Gary, give me a bet on the DK Sportsbook you like for tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cardinals run line at plus 100. Nick already mentioned that he kind of likes Miles Mikolas as a DFS option tonight. I would agree. He's been fantastic so far this season. Not the biggest strikeout pitcher in the world, which sometimes negates his DFS value, but really don't care about that too much for the purposes of betting. He's just been solid. His ERA is great. It's backed up by a pretty reasonable FIP and a pretty reasonable expected ERA. Where Watkins, I just think this is a blow-up spot. I mean, he's survived his first 5 starts of the season. He's been solid by the surface metrics, but this is someone who's struck out as many batters as he's walked so far this season. His expected ERA is over 6. And as I mentioned, he's really struggled with right-handed batters, and that is bad news going up against the Cardinals because not only do they have the 3rd most right-on-right plate appearances of any team so far this season, they are flush with right-handed power. I mean, if you get past Paul Goldschmidt, there's Nolan Arenado, there's Yepez, there's Tyler O'Neill. Like, it just keeps going and going and going. This is a bad matchup for Spencer Watkins.